An arguably underrated and multi-talented force in the film industry, Jake Gyllenhaal has been gracing our screens for just over 30 years now. A year rarely goes by when the actor doesn't star in a movie, and the vast majority of them were either box office gold, critical darlings, or a combination of the two. He's the kind of actor that completely disappears into his characters, often challenging himself with complex and unpredictable roles. If you wondered which of his movies are considered to be the best, we list the 10 best movies that he's appeared in. Number 10. SpiderMan, Far From Home.
They were born in stable orbits within black holes, creatures formed from the primary elements: air, water, fire, earth.
SpiderMan, Far From Home is a 2019 superhero film directed by John Watts and stars Tom Holland, Samuel L. Jackson, Zendaya, Jon Favreau, Jacob Batalon, Kobe Smulders, and Jake Gyllenhaal. Peter Parker decides to leave his alter ego behind for a few weeks and goes on a trip to Europe with his best friend. However, his plans are derailed when he is recruited by Mysterio and Nick Fury to uncover the truth behind the mysterious elemental creature attacks that are wreaking havoc across the world. Number 9. Nocturnal Animals.
Nobody writes about anything but themselves.
My mind started to wander while I was reading it, and that's not good, right?
Nocturnal Animals is a 2017 neo-noir psychological thriller film written, produced, and directed by Tom Ford and stars Amy Adams, Jake Gyllenhaal, Michael Shannon, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Armie Hammer. Susan Morrow is an elegant gallery owner from Los Angeles and married to a successful businessman. The mess, however, is all inside. When she receives a manuscript of a novel written by her first husband, the gritty content of the novel strikes a chord with her, and she starts to remember the times they had together. Number 8. Source Code.
Look, I can see that you think you know me, but I don't know who you are. My name is Captain Coulter Stevens. I fly helicopters for the U.S. Army in Afghanistan.
Source Code is a 2011 science fiction action thriller film directed by Duncan Jones and stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Michelle Monaghan, Vera Farmiga, and Jeffrey Wright. Army pilot Coulter Stevens, recruited for a top-secret operation, finds himself in the body of an unknown man. He is sent into an 8-minute digital recreation of a real-life train explosion. Soon, he is on a mysterious trail to track down the bomber of the Chicago commuter train. Number 7. End of Watch.
This is my day job. Some of you might know me as Brian or Taylor, but here I am, Police Officer 2, Brian Taylor.
End of Watch is a 2012 American action thriller film written and directed by David Ayer and stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena. In Los Angeles, street cops Brian and Mike are partners, balls-out cowboys, patrolling the streets as Latino gangs are in a power struggle with blacks. But when Mike and Brian find a great load of drugs and people involved in human trafficking, they are sentenced to death by the cartel. Can the two police officers escape the cartel's murderous reach? Number 6. Brokeback Mountain.
What if you and me had a little ranch somewhere, a little cow and calf operation? Be a sweet life.
Brokeback Mountain is a 2005 American neo-western romantic drama film directed by Ang Lee and stars Heath Ledger, Jake Gyllenhaal, Anne Hathaway, and Michelle Williams. It follows the forbidden love story of two young cowboys. Set in 1963, the film follows the lives of Ennis and Jack as they try to hide their true selves and continue with their normal lives. Number 5. Zodiac.
I wanted to ask you about Zodiac.
Well, I appreciate the interest, but we don't discuss open cases.
What's going on with it?
Zodiac is a 2007 mystery thriller film directed by David Fincher and stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo, and Robert Downey Jr. Disturbing, haunting, deeply terrifying, this is how you best describe this masterwork of suspense, with jaw-dropping investigations. After a mysterious killer seems to hunt down victims in a certain pattern over the course of centuries, a group of enthusiastic journalists want to find out the truth, unknowingly running into the abyss of human horror, threatening everything they love and ever cared for. Number 4. October Sky.
I'm gonna build a rocket. Well, I'm not saying it's gonna go up in space or anything, but I'm gonna do it.
October Sky is a 1999 biographical drama film directed by Joe Johnston and stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Chris Cooper, Chris Owen, and Laura Dern. Rich in good old human drama with inspirational and deeply moving thoughts, this is the story of Homer Hickman, who, like the other boys of the town Coalwood, grows up to be a coal miner. But his life takes a 180 turn. Together with his friends, he goes on an extraordinary journey, trying to build and launch a self-made rocket. Number 3. Nightcrawler.
I run a successful TV news business. We film breaking stories. Maybe you saw my item this morning with fatal carjacking.
Nightcrawler is a 2014 neo-noir psychological thriller film written and directed by Dan Gilroy and stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Rene Russo, Riz Ahmed, and Bill Paxton. Set in the nocturnal underbelly of contemporary Los Angeles, this film focuses on Lou Bloom, a motivated young man who searches for work and discovers the high-speed world of Los Angeles criminal journalism. But aided by Nina, a veteran of the Bloodsport that is local TV news, Lou more and more blurs the line between observer and participant to become the star of his story. Number 2. Donnie Darko.
Destruction is a form of creation, so the fact that they burn the money is ironic. They just want to see what happens when they tear the world apart.
Donnie Darko is a 2001 science fiction psychological thriller film written and directed by Richard Kelly and stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Gina Malone, Maggie Gyllenhaal, and Drew Barrymore. This extravagant story is packed with dark and disturbing ideas about life. Follows the young and charming high school student Donnie, who hides an eccentric characteristic. He is visited, or rather haunted, by the image of a gigantic rabbit that speaks to him and gives him advice for dangerous, even deadly pranks. Donnie will soon find out that his world is not as it seemed. Number 1. Prisoners.
We're considering all possibilities, Mr. Dover. I hear what you're saying. I'm not crossing anybody off my list.
Prisoners is a 2013 thriller film directed by Denis Villeneuve and stars Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, Maria Bello, Terrence Howard, and Paul Dano. The story focuses on the abduction of 2 young girls in Pennsylvania and the search for the suspected abductor by the police. But, rather than depending on the police, the father of one of the girls prefers to take the complicated job into his own hands.